still my town. My town.
Welcome back to Connecting Clarkston. This is Season 3, Episode 12. Katie and I are very excited. We're sitting here today with Jarett and Josh Luther, both Clarkston locals. And you'll see when we'll get to panning close to this table in front of us with some U of M gear and some bling. There's some watches and some rings that have some significance to both Clarkston High School and U of M. So it's really exciting to have you both here. Thanks for joining us. And Jarett is the Clarkston Athletic Boosters Club president currently.
Yep.
So we're going to talk a little bit about athletic boosters and about sports in Clarkston and U of M and just all the things today. So thank you both for being here with us. We appreciate it. Thanks for bringing all this cool stuff.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Our pleasure. Thank you.
You should have seen Katie and I. Mean, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is probably the most bling I've seen in one place.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Impressive.
Except for a jewelry store. So later we're going to try some things on and see how they fit. Exactly. Well, anyway, so welcome again. And Jarett, let's start with you. So athletic boosters, because all your success at U of M started at Clarkston, and you, I'm sure, played sports here, and we can get into that. But a lot of the support that our athletes get is from the athletic boosters, correct?
Yes.
And so can you talk a little bit about the athletic boosters and kind of just give us a general feeling of what the club does?
Sure. Well, I think they've been around since like the 1960s. I'm not a historian, but I believe I at least got that much information.
Yeah.
And basically, we're an independent nonprofit. We're not a part of the school system, but obviously we work very closely with the school system. And we raise most of the money that we're able to through running concessions at various athletic events, mostly at the high school. We do run some things at the junior high as well, outdoors. And with the money that we raise, the coaches are able to come to us and put in a grant request if they're looking for some equipment or cover some expenses for their program that they're not able to cover through their budget. They can request a grant from us, and then we kind of have a review and look at what they've been able to do to help our program, and then of course what we're able to do to help theirs, and provide them that grant money so that we can get them improved equipment or updated uniforms or help with travel expenses, things like that.
Okay. And so when the fundraiser, you're saying the main fundraiser is concessions. Are there other fundraisers you guys do throughout the year?
Well, we do have some merch, spiritware that we sell. We also are looking for sponsorships as well. Like actually currently right now, we have billboards on the outside of our field house at the high school, and we're looking for new sponsors, advertisers that would like to advertise on those. But mostly it's concessions. 90% of the money we raise is through selling of the concessions.
And then are all of your members volunteers?
Yes, we're a completely volunteer-run organization. All the board members are volunteers. All of our executive council members are volunteers, and everybody that helps out. It's strictly volunteerism.
And I'm just curious, how has the money required for sports, how has that changed over the years? Because I'm sure it feels like things are more expensive now, just the things that kids are doing in the sports, traveling and all the things.
Right. I'm not intimate with the expenses for the particular high school programs, but I do know, I'm sure they've been subject to inflation just as everybody else has, pretty much for everything. And I also believe that the money put aside within school budgets for athletics has probably been decreasing. I'm sure it's been decreasing across multiple platforms inside the schools. So I know they're always doing fundraising on their own, and anything that we can do to supplement that, of course, I'm sure they're very appreciative. Whatever we can do to assist them.
So I know you have 2 kids. You have Josh and correct?
3,
You
actually.
have 3.
Yes.
Okay. So I know Josh. I cleaned his teeth a couple years ago, and then Erica ended up tutoring my daughter, and Erica was captain of the cheerleading team, I want to say.
She was a part of the sideline cheerleading team and the competitive cheerleading team, I believe, for all 4 years.
Okay.
Whether she was officially a captain, I'm not sure. I don't know if
Okay.
they officially declared one, but I know she tried to take a leadership role and especially her junior and senior year, step up and be a leader for sure.
So your family definitely involved with the football, cheerleading. Were there any other sports when your kids were going through school, or were those the two main ones?
Well, Josh was involved with football, basketball, and baseball.
Okay.
Oh, just those three?
Yeah.
Just those three. Yep. And our middle daughter is a dancer, and
Okay.
she danced with a local studio on their competitive team. And then, like you said, Erica was involved with the sideline and the competitive cheerleading.
Okay.
Erica also did gymnastics when she was younger, and so did Andrea, but not really at the
Yeah, that
school
was
level.
youth gymnastics at a local gym.
Okay. So yeah, you've definitely been through a lot of these programs, and I know when we were talking about the athletic boosters and kind of what the needs are, volunteers are a big portion, and I think you were talking about how one of the visions is to mostly have an adult volunteer base. Is that correct?
Well, the biggest thing we're struggling with is to get enough volunteers to help support all the concessions that we're selling at all the different games, especially the fall season. I think my wife said we support like 6 levels of football alone in fall,
Wow.
as well as some of the other sports. And fall is very busy. We're running 3 concession stands, the field house at the high school, the field house at the junior high, and then inside at the high school as well. And so always trying to get volunteers is our biggest challenge, as it is for any organization that relies on volunteer help. So we've tried to make improvements to make that easier for people to sign up. We've completely updated our website. We have all of our Sign Up Geniuses posted on there. We have all of our meeting schedules, posted on there. So we're trying to make it self-sufficient for people to be able to find the information that they need to find out, and then hopefully sign up to work one of our events and help us out.
Nice.
Like when there's a football game, for example, how many volunteers do you need to man the booths?
For varsity football, that's our biggest need for an event, and to feel comfortable, I think we like to have maybe 30 people signed
wow.
up for a varsity game. Obviously, we're blessed to have a very large facility at the high school, and we can really use that many people to try to cover all the things that we need to handle for the crowds that we have to serve for those games.
Wow. Okay, so that's a lot. I mean, so you're managing a lot of volunteers. That's
Yes.
that's a lot.
Fortunately for a lot of the other ones, I don't want to scare people away and think it's always that big.
Yeah.
For a lot of the other sports, like when we're indoors, we need maybe 5 or 6 for some of the indoor events when we're inside the high school. And even over at the junior high, it's a much smaller facility that we're operating out of. So, if we can get 6 people over there, that's a lot for us over there. So there's opportunities to be in smaller group settings, and not all of our events are as kind of chaotic and busy as varsity football. For anybody that's attended a game or actually volunteered with us and worked, they know that experience. So if they're looking for a little slower pace, we definitely have games to offer that as well.
Oh, good. And can people volunteer just for one event, or is it like, oh, now you're in, now you're committed?
We don't have any requirements, and I kind of say every year, like if we could just get everybody to work one shift, not even an entire event.
Yeah.
Most of our shifts we ask for maybe 2 hours. Most people are gracious once they're there, like because we're needing help a lot.
Yeah.
They're willing to stay longer, but if people have busy schedules and they sign up for one shift and that's what they're able to help us out with, we're more than grateful for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no requirement. You don't have to put in more than one if you sign up for one. But any help that we can get, we certainly gladly would take.
And how long, if you're the president currently, how long have you been in this position?
I just completed my 2nd year, and I'll actually be doing a 3rd year coming up this next school year.
It's a three-year term, or just by choice?
Just by choice.
Okay.
We have a board with president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. There's supposed to be annual commitments, and if somebody wants to get involved in the springtime towards the end of our year, we do have elections.
Mm-hmm.
We also have an executive council appointed by the president of different responsibilities. We've had some great people step up in those roles right now, and we're actually looking for somebody else too who might have some advertising or fundraising experience to fill that role currently on the executive council.
Okay, very cool.
So you guys have meetings, how frequently?
We have a monthly meeting.
Monthly meeting.
Usually I believe it's the 3rd week of the month. We try to keep them to the same day, but sometimes when we have an event that we have to work concessions at, it's hard to have the meeting that same night because a lot of the same people have to support both things. So sometimes our meetings are Tuesday, but I think generally in the fall we try to have them on Monday. In the winter and in the spring, that seems to when we have more conflicts with Mondays. But usually we're pretty good about keeping them the third week of the month. And again, we have all those things updated on our website.
Okay.
And now we've also reached out on social media as well. So if there's any kind of change to those schedules, we try to get that out there as quickly as possible.
I do think too, connecting with you on social media might be a good thing for people to do that are interested in getting involved, because I think when you do have a need or you're really looking for volunteers, I'll see you post things out.
Yep,
So
we're currently
that's-
on Instagram and Facebook, so I'm not that tech savvy on those
Yes.
things, but I think you can find us just probably by searching
Yeah.
Clarkston Athletic Boosters Club. And one of the things I wanted to mention too was we do offer an opportunity if you do want to volunteer multiple times. If your family volunteers, I think for 6 shifts and attends 3 out of our monthly meetings over the year, you can become eligible to get an athletic family pass at half off. Our athletic director graciously offers that to try to help encourage volunteerism. And that's actually how my family first got involved. I think my wife started when Josh was in middle school. We were looking to get the family pass, so she started to volunteer. And she's been involved longer than I have. And probably thinking about 6 years ago, I started doing some volunteering, working concessions as well. I found it really fun, and I got a kick out of it, and so I got more involved with it. And we both continued to volunteer, while our kids were in the athletic program, and obviously a couple years ago stepped up to more leadership roles. And actually, one of the ways that I found out I was interested was before becoming the president, I got more actively involved, just kind of as a member at large, and kind of learned some of the operations and how things functioned. So I felt comfortable going into the president role that I could handle what needed to be taken care of.
Yeah.
The other thing too, I think the family pass, for those that don't know, is just you get like your whole family. You get to go to any Clarkston sporting events with that pass.
Right,
correct?
yeah, rather than
Okay.
paying at the gate for each event, once you have the family pass, it's good for the high school, junior high, and I think even middle school when there's events. I think it covers all levels of the school system.
that's nice.
And I think you can get up to 6 family members
Okay.
under the family pass. And,
nice, yeah.
so it actually, especially if you attend a lot of events, your kids are involved in a lot of sporting activities, it ends up being a pretty good deal, and you're able to help us out at the same time. So.
Nice.
Have there been any initiatives or changes that you're working on currently that we should talk about?
Well, currently it's just continuous improvement. When we first came in, we tried to take a look at everything to try to improve efficiency. Obviously, we were hit by inflation was a big thing. Relying on selling concessions. We have to obtain those from somewhere, and so the last thing we wanted to do was just raise prices across the board of everything that we were selling. So we just tried to take a look at cost cutting, efficiency, eliminating waste, and just kind of every facet of what the boosters was doing. Getting the website up and running and being current so that people could use it as a tool. We've expanded, payment that we accept at concessions from just cash. Now we accept credit, Venmo, Cash App as well. We've tried to up the spiritware game with offering more selections there. When we're coming into an event, trying to predict kind of the usage of what we're going to need for inventory to help eliminate waste. Just all those things that we can do to not have to just strictly raise the prices, on the signboard and still help make more money for the student athletes at Clarkston.
Definitely.
Also, right, you guys creating kind of processes so that volunteers know what they're doing.
Right, that's my wife's been hugely involved with documenting. She put together booklets for each one of the stand with operating instructions. So if somebody comes there and they have questions, they want to reference that. We always make sure that there's somebody from the leadership team at all the events, so that somebody doesn't show up and feel like they're just going to be left to drown there. We always have somebody in charge that is very experienced and know what's going on. So I know some people have hesitations about that. They're worried that they're just going to be thrown out there and don't know what to do, but we definitely don't do that. But the documentation has been a great help just as far as consistency and trying to get things the same at each one of the 3 stands and
Have systems in place.
Yeah.
And
yes, exactly.
so I think as Ann and I keep meeting all of these different organizations and groups, it seems like everybody's trying to draw in new people and also have systems in place where if they're passing the baton to the next person, the organization's going to continue to thrive and trend in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I think Clarkston's been very fortunate to have your family super involved. I think every event I've attended for the past couple of years, most of your family has been working it. And I would imagine with all your kids graduating, you may not stay and run this for an eternity. So I think continuing to grow the program and have more volunteers come in is just going to be a good thing where the boosters can continue on and keep helping the community.
Right,
So-
and that is another part of the documentation, so that when the next leadership group comes in, they can at least go off of what we started with, and if they want to make their changes, they've got a basis for at least how we were doing it. That brings up a good point too. We do have some of our other board members still have kids in school, and so they might be around as board members for a year or so more. But anybody that wants to get involved and kind of shadow this year for getting involved at a deeper level next year, maybe as a leadership position, we welcome that too, for sure. Because I know going in cold can sometimes be intimidating, and like I said, I got involved and kind of took it upon myself to just kind of see the way things were operating and how things worked, and that really helped me feel more comfortable stepping up into a leadership position.
Yeah. One question I had as we were talking about chatting with you guys today is, so you do all this fundraising and you have these funds. How does it get decided how the funds get dispersed among all the different athletics? I mean, Clarkston's so huge and so many different programs. How does that process work?
Well, we do have grant request forms, and there's 2 different ones. One is for a general grant request, and basically things run through the varsity head coach for a particular program. So if within the different levels of that particular sport, if somebody has a need, we ask that they work with the varsity coach and work through the varsity coach with us, and they can fill out one of our grant request forms specifying what they're looking at obtaining for their team, what the cost is. We ask that they try to get a couple of quotes if they can, maybe 3 if it's not too much trouble, just so that we can feel confident that the money that we're spending is going as far as it can. And so once they submit the grant request form, we have them come into one of our monthly meetings and present to the board and to any of the membership that are attending the meeting kind of the same information that they have on the paper form, and we have an opportunity to ask questions and do a follow-up, and then the board basically reviews that information and grants the request so that the team can get those funds for whatever it is they need. And then the second one is we support the teams at the high school level that qualify for state competition when they're going to travel to states and they're going to incur lodging and meal expenses. The head coach is able to put in a grant request for us to cover a certain amount of the lodging as well as meals for the student athletes for any day that they're going to be competing at states. And that's kind of more cut and dried as long as we're just following the limitations on what we're able to grant. All the teams qualify for that if they're going to be traveling to states.
So there's no, you are able to provide that if in any circumstance when the football team went to states, and there's usually not a question about.
Well, fortunately, when football did states, it was local and they weren't staying overnight, because that would have been a pretty big bill with the size of the team. So we didn't have to incur that.
Yeah.
But so long as we have the funding, and one of the things that I'm proud of is we've been very successful with what we've been able to do the last couple of years with our operations and raising money. So we do have that money available. That would be a limitation. I can't say going forward in the future that they'll have as much success. I hope that they certainly do. But if the money's there, then we certainly want to provide for the athletic teams.
I have to interject a totally random thought, not even in this world. But so Kyle Hughes from Rush Robotics was on with us recently because we were talking about Rush Regatta. And after we finished the episode, we started talking. I don't remember how it came up, but she basically was telling us how the robotics team, am I saying that correctly? Or
Yeah, I believe so.
her class they're the ones that clean up the stadium after the football games.
yes.
Remember, she was telling us how they
Yes.
go in and they just have this system down where they're like leaf blower type things. They blow all the garbage out. So I don't know why I felt the need to say that, but it's so interesting
It's a
to me
team effort.
because, you know, I mean, we're there all the time for all these
Yeah.
different events, but
Yeah.
apparently we don't stick around to the very end to see how this place gets cleaned up. So.
I have heard that, and I was aware of it. I don't know how that first
Yeah.
started and how they got involved.
Well,
but
she
yes,
was
shout out to
telling
them for
us
doing
how
that.
Yeah.
I think the janitorial staff used to do it, but it was like a huge undertaking for them, and so somehow they like stepped up and got involved, and I just think that that's a cool thing.
Yep.
That's very cool. It kind of reminds me of like the behind the scenes stuff. Like not everyone knows that the athletic boosters are supporting and what they do to support all the teams and
Right.
the robotics team are doing. Like it's just kind of nice to understand, like peel back the layers a little bit and say, okay, all this stuff is amazing, but it doesn't happen, you know, magically. People are
Yes.
doing hard work. They're volunteering. They're
Right.
like your career has been really successful, and it's in part because the athletic boosters and the robotics people clean, you know, all the pieces come together, and it's
Right.
really cool to get that community, like the whole view of
Yes.
everything that's happening. So let's talk about your journey. So you played football for Clarkston all 4 years, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Did you play Chiefs?
I did. I started, well, first off, I started playing flag football locally with him as my head coach.
Okay.
And Jarett, did you play football?
I did not. I was a baseball player.
Okay.
I definitely liked football,
Okay.
but I think baseball is a little bit more my speed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we started with flag.
Yeah.
I've been, and then I transitioned to playing Chiefs, I think, 4th grade. Played Chiefs for a couple of years, and then, after that, I played for the middle school and then the junior high teams, and freshman and JV, and then my first year on varsity was my junior year, and then I played on varsity again my senior year.
And what position did you play in high school?
At the varsity level, I played defensive back, so I kind of would fill whatever void we needed that game if there was injuries or depending on who we were playing. So both cornerback and safety. And then my senior year, second year on varsity, I also played some receiver. But my position changed a lot as I was growing up. I went from running back, linebacker, tight end, to ultimately receiver and DB in high school, and then I played DB in college as well.
I think they even put you on the defensive line in Chiefs
They
just
might
to get
have.
low.
Yeah.
Right. I played quarterback in flag football.
Nice. Well, I know some of these rings, I don't know when we're going to zoom into all this stuff, but some of the rings are from Clarkston High School, right?
Yep.
And talk about those years.
Sure, yeah. Actually, 2 of the rings are from Clarkston basketball, and one's from Clarkston football. I'll cover the basketball ones first because that's what happened first. I got pulled up for the playoffs my sophomore year, the year that Clarkston won the first basketball state championship, and that was really cool. Just getting to be a part of that, and kind of, I think that prepped me really well for the next couple of years being on Clarkston basketball. Just kind of seeing, I mean, when you're following a team of that caliber, like, I mean, first of all, you have some great athletes, but then also just everyone is doing their role and everyone's locked in, and I think that really helped set the tone for both basketball and football and even baseball too. Just like, all right, at the varsity level, this is the type of effort you need to bring, attitude and focus, attention to detail, stuff like that. And so, yeah, being a part of those basketball teams, I didn't play as much on those teams, so I was more of a practice role player, but that was really cool. And then transitioning to football, my junior year, I played mainly just on defense, and yeah, I think that first year in varsity, just trying to early in the season soak up as much information as I could from the seniors and the coaches, and just kind of find my footing to where at the end of the year I was able to participate and contribute a little more as I got settled in, and being a part of that team was awesome. We were obviously very good. I think we had 2 losses going into the postseason, and I don't think too much was expected from our team, but we held in there. We had a great comeback win against Holland West Ottawa, and it was at the quarter of the semifinal.
I think there was a quarterfinals.
They had the quarterfinal, and then surprised everyone with that 3-2 victory in the state championship against West Bloomfield, which was awesome. And then, I mean, the next year, my senior year, was just as awesome as well. There's not a ring for that one because unfortunately we lost the state championship, but that was a lot of fun because I felt like I was more of a leader on that team, and got to play both ways, and it was just a really fun run trying to defend. I think being there the year before and winning it all really helped. Just have that under our belt and knowing what it took to get there and helped us get back. And of course would have liked to finish that one off with a win, but made some great memories along the way, and that was just a blast to be a part of that team as well.
And what year did you graduate?
I graduated 2019.
So it sounds like the early success kind of led you to your career at U of M. I mean, maybe it's just you're going to do it anyways, but talk about how you ended up on that football team.
Yeah, sure. I think the success growing up and then also at Clarkston is what ultimately led me to go to the University of Michigan, because I originally went as a student before walking on, and I actually had an opportunity to play at the Division III level. But I decided, I had a school, Carnegie Mellon, that came and was trying to recruit me, and I think a couple weeks to a month after their coach kind of came and talked to me and I was thinking about applying, I got into Michigan early decision as a student, and I just kind of decided with the success that I had at Clarkston, specifically the high school level as well, that if that was the end of my football career, I was fine with that, and that I had set myself up academically. And don't get me wrong, Carnegie Mellon, great engineering school, but that I had wanted to go to a Big Ten school or just a Power 5 conference school in general, and if I wasn't going to play, I was content with that, and I just wanted to be a student. But I did tell myself that if the opportunity arose, that I was going to try and walk onto the football team. And so that fall, I played rugby actually for like 3 weeks. I decided I didn't like that as much. It wasn't. I thought it was very similar to football. Turns out it's not as much so. But I played rugby. I weightlifted. I played lots of IM sports, just trying to stay in shape and stay tuned. And fast forward to February 2020, I saw that Michigan posted something about football tryouts. So I went there, and there was a form you basically had to fill out talking about your academic background as well as just your football background. So I filled that out, got invited back for a tryout, which was about a week later. Basically like an NFL combine where they had you do, there was no football involved, it was just basically speed, agility, and strength. And they told us we were going to find out like a week later if we were invited back. 3 weeks before I've heard anything. So yeah, those are some anxious
That's
2 to 3
tough,
weeks.
yeah.
But I got invited back for spring ball, but then everyone kind of knows what happened in March 2020. COVID hit, and so I was there for about a week on the team before COVID hit and everyone got sent home. And so this is where it gets interesting, because I didn't hear from anyone for like a month or two during COVID, just because I was back at home. And so finally then they put me in a group chat for nutrition as well as working out. And fast forward to that summer, we're having a team meeting, and Coach Harbaugh goes over basically what the summer is going to look like, because usually there's a spring ball and then there's a summer training and then summer camp, and those are all regimented. But with COVID, the NCAA decided that it was going to be a little different. And so basically, I think there was 148 people or something like that were vying for spots in the team, and only 140 spots. And I was one of the 8 people that was told originally that I did not have a spot on the team, and that I was going to be a manager. And so for the managers, we were told, I think this meeting was end of June, beginning of July, that the managers were going to be there September to help around kind of when the school year and the season started. And so that's what I thought my path was going to be. Fast forward 2 days, I'm hanging out at a buddy's house, check my phone, I see I got a missed call from Jim Harbaugh. I'm like, that's probably a call that I want to take, get back to him. And so I did. I called him back right away, and he basically told me that they had a spot open up in that 140, and that me and one other guy, they were going to have us start working out immediately on Monday and competing for that spot. And so I didn't know who the other guy was. I just showed up and started working. And fast forward to, it was kind of the end of July, beginning of August, right before training camp. We had this conditioning test, which Coach Jim Harbaugh got from his brother, John Harbaugh with the Ravens, which is a 150-yard shuttle test. It's extremely difficult. And basically, we were told that if we passed it, we were on the team. And I won't get into too many specifics about that conditioning test, but it's you have 6 reps and 150-yard shuttle, and you have 28 seconds or less to finish each rep.
Wow.
And it's definitely more about pacing yourself than speed. So I was trying to pace myself, but long story short is the last rep, the 6th rep, gave it everything I had. I came in 0.4 seconds below the time, so I passed and made the team, and then took it from there. So it was quite the bizarre entry onto the team. But
And that's your sophomore year then? Like that you
well,
started in the
the
team?
spring was
Okay.
the end of my freshman year, but my first year, the 2020 year, was my sophomore year.
And just to tie Clarkston together with U of M, probably a shout out to coaches at Clarkston and people in the sports administration that had ties to Michigan were a big help with character reference, saying, hey, we got a great multi-sport athlete here, super smart kid, he'd be a great addition to any team. You know, they definitely went to bat for him, doing whatever they could to help him out. So definitely want to thank them for their help as well.
That is really cool. I mean, not to mention that the helmets all match, they're all the same, very easy
Right, yeah, it was meant to be.
transition. It's meant
You were
to
telling
be.
me
You're
that
used to
you've
these
worn
colors.
the same helmet your whole career, except for maybe a couple of the 7th and 8th grade games I think you
Right.
might have had to see.
Yeah,
but
Chiefs, we had that. But
Chiefs and then
cool.
Clarkston and then U of M had the winged helmet for all those levels.
It must have been so nerve-wracking not really knowing if you were on the team for that time. You're like, what am I doing? Kind of in this like, la la land.
Yeah, I think I had the benefit of kind of being naive or just not really knowing what was going on. From the standpoint of like, after being on the team for 4 years and having other true walk-ons kind of go through that same process, and then seeing some not make it through spring ball or some being released because of roster limits or this or that, I didn't really have that experience or that knowledge going in. And so I thought the hardest part was just going to be getting a shot, right? Just like that tryout, because kind of like I said, all they had to look at was this form that you filled out, as he mentioned, some maybe recommendations or people that are vouching for you, and then this 60-minute tryout where you do 6 different drills. And so I thought that was going to be the hardest part, and that since I had gotten through that, it was like, all right, now I believed in myself. I can go out and prove on the football field, or also prove through my interactions daily that I belong here. And that also, I think another huge part, kind of like he had mentioned as well, is that I'm going to be on time and show up every day where I'm supposed to be, do what I'm supposed to be. I'm going to have a great attitude, and you're not going to have any problems for me. And I think that's half the battle, especially when you're a walk-on, right? They want walk-ons that are willing to work hard, that are going to do the dirty work and help the team. And then the last thing they want from a walk-on is a distraction. So.
And didn't you say that at that original walk-on tryout, there were 3 or 4 dozen guys that were trying to go through that process?
I don't know how many people filled out the form, but I think there was 15 people that were at the actual combine tryout, and then me and one other person were the only ones invited back for spring ball, and then that other guy actually ended up being a student manager, kind of like I was talking about, one of those 8. So I ultimately ended up being really the only guy from that that tryout that was on the team.
I feel like kids,
meant
if
to
you're
be.
listening, it's like hard work, determination, showing up, consistency,
attitude.
Yeah.
So when you say true walk-on, you're a true walk-on.
Yep.
And that just means that just like you decided one day to fill the form out. Is that what true walk-on means?
Yeah, so there's 2 different types of walk-ons. There's preferred walk-ons and true walk-ons. That might be changing now because college football and the new bill that was passed, I think they're limiting roster spots, and every single roster spot is going to have a scholarship. So it doesn't really apply much anymore, but it feels
So there
weird saying
won't
back.
be an opportunity for walk-ons anymore?
I don't think so, not
Doesn't
really,
look
which
promising.
is unfortunate.
Yeah.
They did, so when I first joined, there were I think 75 scholarships per team, and then the roster limit was basically just because of Title IX, you had to have the same amount of female athletes at a school and male athletes. So as long as you had some female athletes on a different team to but like balance it, you could have as many athletes as you wanted. So Michigan actually, I think, has one of the larger rosters in college football. And so that whoever wasn't part of that 75 scholarship, those 75 scholarships, they were walk-ons. And so there's preferred walk-ons. So like a lot of ways you get, or one of the ways that you get recognized by these teams is you go to camps, right? They'll host camps or this or that. And if they like you, they think you'll be a good walk-on, but they don't have enough scholarships for you. They would say, hey, we want you to be part of the team. You have a spot on the team. We don't have a scholarship, so you're preferred walk-on. They'll help you get into school, and you have a spot on the team. You're just not getting any financial aid from them. So that's the preferred walk-on route. And then true walk-on is kind of like the movie Rudy, where they didn't really know about you. You're just a student at the school, and they hold a tryout, and you show up to the tryout, and you're like, you know what, I think this guy would be a good fit. So
I'm sure it'll be different at different programs across different schools, but as Josh mentioned, I think the NIL landscape has definitely changed the process. I don't know if anybody's going to have the same opportunity to duplicate his story, but I would imagine there'll still be opportunities for kids to try to walk on and maybe get offered a scholarship, whether it's through the preferred invitation method, or if it is a tryout where they're looking for somebody that hasn't been recruited, and that person does work their way up to a scholarship position before the start of the season. That's probably stuff all that has to shake out yet with this quickly changing landscape of college sports. So there might still be opportunities out there for kids that may feel overlooked, but it's probably going to be a different process now, I would guess.
That's right. So you played all 4 years?
I played 4 out of 5, yeah. So after my freshman year where I wasn't on the team, then I played sophomore year through. I had a 1-year grad program that I played.
And the COVID year, which was his first year on the team, didn't count as eligibility. So,
is that right? Okay.
He actually could have had 1 more year, but he had finished his undergrad and his graduate degrees, so decided that he was going to call it a career.
Well, and obviously you're no dummy. I mean, you got into U of M academically, which is hard anyways, and you're an engineer now, is that true?
Yep, I work at Ford as a software developer.
So how was it balancing, because I know Michigan football is super intense. Like I've seen the documentaries, I've watched. How did you balance that?
It was pretty difficult. First I'll just say, during the season, which was the hardest because that's when you're in the facility the most. I mean, you're in there probably workouts 5-6 times a week for an hour or so, and then also you just have 3 to 4 hours of meetings, 2-hour practice sprints every day. So I'd say, including on home or weeks where we had home games, because you're there all Saturday as well, you're probably in the facility upwards of 50 hours a week.
50?
50, yeah, 50.
Wow. It's a full-time job.
And so I think my degree as well as COVID, I think actually might have helped me a little bit, because doing computer science and data science, a lot of those classes, and with COVID, were all online. And so I was able to cut out all that commute time between where I was living and my classes. And then also just with those classes being online, a lot of them were recorded. And so I wouldn't necessarily have a class during the scheduled class time. I could kind of maneuver my schedule to where, like, I would watch the recording as I'm doing the homework and learn that way. So I'm like looking at the concepts or watching the concepts while applying it to something. And so I think it was just about efficiency and being focused wherever I was. If I was at football, I'm focusing on football and I'm doing that. And then not having that wasted time looking at my phone a lot, or when I'm at home, making sure that I'm focusing on my work, so that I still also try and have some sort of social life as well. But I mean, yeah, during the season was definitely the toughest. I think for me, it definitely helped academically that I wasn't a starter on the football team, or I didn't have a huge role when it came to the games themselves, because the players that did, you have to be in your iPad or watching film or looking over the game plan a lot, and that would have taken so much time. But as a scout player, we have a tremendous coaching staff and analysts that do a lot of that for you and kind of simplify it. So there wasn't a whole lot of film that I needed to watch in order to help prepare the rest of the team or contribute to the team, which helped me do engineering at the same time.
Did you travel with the team?
I did not for away games. I did for the Big Ten championships and the bowl games. There was I think you're only allowed to travel 70 or 75 players for away games. And so with having 140 on the roster, half of us, that was the other thing too during the year, was as much as home games were awesome, I enjoyed away weekends just as much, because we would have a practice early Friday, and then we'd have the rest of the Friday off, we'd have Saturday off, and then basically Sunday off. So that'd be a 3-day weekend, which when you're in season is not not very common. When I say 3-day weekend, it was more like a 3-day chance to catch up on my work.
And it wasn't a break, right?
Right, yeah. Have football on in the background while Saturday and Sundays, that's what my day looked like, is having either college football or the NFL on in the background doing work. And that's kind of how I got by.
Were you on that trip to Italy?
I was not. That was before I got there. But we had a trip throughout Michigan and then also one to Washington, D.C. And both of those were a lot of fun, just kind of being around my teammates in a non-football setting. I think you got to see a side of them that you don't see when you're in the facility, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I have lots of questions, but can I just ask about the stickers?
Are you going to put the helmet on?
I'm going to put the helmet on
in
a minute. I don't know, I'm showing the camera. Anyway, all the stickers, I'm always wondering when I see them on TV.
Yeah.
Talk about how you get those.
Yeah, that's something that Coach Harbaugh wanted to kind of bring back into the program, were helmet stickers, and each one kind of represents something different. Most of them, for me, are every time that we would win a game, we'd get a helmet sticker. And so that's what a lot of those represent with the numbers. Each number is the number win in Michigan football history.
Oh, is it really?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And so for the non-conference games, or like every game's important, but not the big games. That's where you have the Wolverine head, but then there's a bunch of different ones. Like there's the Rose Bowl, which was win 1003. You have the game against Ohio State, and then there's a couple other ones. And then there's All Academic, the book there. There's the jersey for lettering. We have area code 248. Shout out to Clarkston.
That's cool.
But yeah, it's kind of the way he described it, and I like it, is it tells the story of your time on the team with all the wins and even like personal accomplishments, like I said. And so, yeah, each sticker kind of has a different meaning.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And you got some of these watches. So we were talking about the watches, like the Rose Bowl, the ring, and some of the bling. I don't know why I'm calling it that, but that's because I'm very cool. Some of the ice. Sorry, that's
not cool.
I'm not cool. I know that. So the watches, some of them were given to you, and the rings, and there's maybe one or two commemorative ones that you purchased. But these are gifts from their athletic boosters. Is this where Clarkston's headed? Are we giving watches out soon?
The rings.
I'm just kidding.
The rings. The school.
Michigan,
right? Yeah.
Not Clarkston. Not Clarkston.
I think they covered those as a commemoration for our achievements, and then the watch is actually kind of the four in the middle there. Each bowl game we went to, and then the national championship, they do a great job of really putting on like a whole week's worth of activities and just really celebrating your season, right? Because when you're playing in the college football playoff, it's a little more intense because it's a playoff game. You have a championship on the line. Yeah. And so you're really focused on the game, but the reason bowl games exist, the postseason, is kind of, like I said, you go somewhere warm, celebrate your season, kind of have like a week with a lot of fun and stuff planned, and you play a game. And so for those bowl games, they would have welcome gifts, including like those watches to commemorate your time there and playing in that bowl game, and they'd have different activities. Like when we played in the Orange Bowl in Miami, we went on a late night river cruise through South Beach, which was a lot of fun. Or when we were at the Rose Bowl, we ate at Lowry's, which I might have had the best meal I've ever had at Lowry's there in Beverly Hills. So that's where those watches came from.
What a cool experience.
Yeah, it was very cool. I think going back to the tryout, like we were talking about, I remember after the tryout, I was exhausted. I think I called him and talked to him for probably 30 minutes to an hour talking about it, and I just took like a 2-hour nap just because it was so overwhelming. But I can't say I was really nervous during the tryout because I had nothing to lose. But now, looking back on it, if I had to go through that same process again, knowing all that I got to experience through those 4 years, I would be a nervous wreck.
Yeah.
Just because.
It's better to not know sometimes.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Kind of like what you were asking with regard to after I walked on kind of that summer. It's just I didn't really know that almost it helped me, I guess. being so naive.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like you're starting with the Chiefs and all the different programs here in Clarkston that you were a part of, and
Yeah.
all the hard work and the determination and like just going for it.
Right.
You know, you kind of learned all that growing up and going through our great, I think we have a really fantastic athletic program, all the
Oh, yeah.
programs here in Clarkston, and maybe set you up for that confidence to give it a try.
Right, I agree,
Which
and
is cool.
I'd love to give a shout out to all the coaches I've had, football, basketball, and baseball. They made it fun to compete, and my peers as well, right? Like, I think a huge part of being on a team is the people you're playing with, and everyone made it a lot of fun. Made me want to work daily, whether, like I said, regardless of the sport,
Yeah.
and they, as well as him, back all the way to flag football, kind of instilled work ethic, competitive drive, and just, I think, as we mentioned prior, the success, especially in football and basketball as well, made me realize or believe that the hard work would pay off and that it's worth it. So
I think he's being a little modest too academically, and here's a shout out for Clarkston schools on the academic side of things. It took me 5 years in college, not playing any sports, to get an engineering degree, and because of the preparation he got in Clarkston schools,
including Kyle Hughes, which you shout
Yes.
out.
Yes.
It's amazing.
he was able to get dual undergraduate degrees in computer science and data science in 4 years on time while playing football before completing the 1-year master's program. So definitely know his education in Clarkston schools had a big part of that, as well as I remember I was asking him myself, how did you do that? And he said the main thing was once he was past something, just had to put it in the rearview mirror. Like if something didn't go the way you wanted it to go, you just kind of had to process it quickly and move on. You couldn't dwell on it and just keep moving forward. And I thought, that's an excellent approach to take regardless of what you're doing.
Yeah.
But certainly could see why that was necessary. And again, obviously, his mom and I are extremely proud of all his
sure.
accomplishments.
Yeah.
But academically, certainly as much as athletically.
Oh, absolutely.
Great.
I know. Go ahead.
Well, I feel like too, like just meeting you and talking with you, your attitude is so good, and I feel like parenting factors into that. Like there's so many, I think, parts that go into forming who you are as a person, and I think yes, Clarkston schools, your teachers, your coaches, your parents, and I mean I think U of M made a great choice.
Good job, U of M.
Good job, U of M.
Thank you, I appreciate
done.
it.
Way to not let this opportunity pass you by. So
Yeah, now you're working at Ford, is that what you said?
Yep, I've been working at Ford for about a year now. I had a couple internships with them when I was in college, which I think, being on Michigan football helped me get those as well.
Absolutely,
They had an opportunity to kind of attend a Ford presentation for student athletes, and I was the only one that showed up, and so me and the Ford employee, who was also a Michigan fan, that helped, kind of just chatted for about 30 minutes, and I think that was kind of my foot in the door. And yeah, I've been working at Ford for the past year as an FCG, which stands for Ford College Graduate.
Well, you just said it again. Like I was the one that showed up. Like you're showing up, and that's like I think a big deal, especially nowadays. It seems like you hear people, old grumpy people, say kids these days don't want to do the hard work, and that's not true for you. You're definitely doing all the hard work. You're showing up, and that means a lot to people. So that's
are you
fantastic.
living back in Ann Arbor
For the summer, yes.
because you like to golf?
Because I love to
Is
golf.
this correct?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, and and I are golfing tomorrow.
Actually, tomorrow. Yeah.
Where are you guys golfing at?
The fountains.
It's for the
Fountains.
Chamber of
Classic.
Commerce golf outing.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So it's don't show up for that. That's going to be not very pretty, not U of M quality at all.
I think I might have a tea time already tomorrow, so I would probably conflict with that.
Okay. Oh my gosh, we should have brought you with us.
Shoot, there's still time.
I think
We'll
it's,
talk.
year.
I think it's very fair to say golf has filled the competitive void for him
That's
what I was
that
gonna
was
say,
missing
yeah.
after football.
Well, sure, a 3-sport athlete. I mean, that's tough nowadays,
Right.
for sure. So, what's your prediction? Is Hutch coming back this year for the Lions? What's the inside scoop? Is he ready?
Oh, I don't know if I have the inside scoop, but I think he'll be ready. I mean, knowing him, I know he battled some a lot of adversity at Michigan, injuries as well there. And I was on the team with him 1 year back in 2021, and he when you're talking about attitude and work ethic, he's just no one better than him in terms of that. And there's a reason why he was on pace to have a record-setting year last year before getting injured. So I have no doubts that he'll be back and better than ever this upcoming year.
Yeah, I was thinking about him when you were talking because it's similar attitudes, it seems like put the hard work in, be positive, and affect everybody around you in a positive way.
Yeah, I mean,
cool.
I think especially at a place like Michigan, and when you have most of those athletes, I get asked a lot about who's like a lot of the guys on the team that like, were they nice, like JJ or Blake Corum, like are those great guys? And it's like, absolutely, like a lot of those guys, the reason they got there is because they have great attitude and they're great to people. If you're great to people, they'll be great to you, and that'll open up opportunities. And so most of those guys are, and I think Michigan does a great job too. They recruit specific guys as well. Half of recruiting is half of it is talent, and do you have the skill set? The other half is what type of person are you going to fit into our organization and our scheme. And the majority of those guys do, and that's the reason they're so successful, is because they work their butt off and they're great people to everyone.
Is that what the Michigan Man idea is?
I think, yeah, that's a big part of it, is just representing something bigger than yourself and kind of putting in the work to be a Michigan man, right? Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I feel like obviously you've been very successful in both high school and college, as evidenced here. But I think you probably would have been successful even if you didn't play football. It seems like you've got the brains and all the right attitude. And obviously, shout out to you guys, to your parents, but the community at large too. I feel like this is the point of the athletic boosters, is to kind of everybody wrap around the community. And so I guess maybe one of the messages would be a little shout out to volunteers to help out the athletic boosters, because we're supporting great kids, not only like Josh, but lots of kids right now.
Potential,
lots of potential. And yeah, if we can wrap around and help more kids have your success, then that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, what a great story. I'm so glad we got to chat today. I didn't really know the full story, so
Yes.
fantastic.
Thank you, guys.
And tell us again the Athletic Boosters website so people can get more info and volunteer.
Well, if you just go to the school website, or actually just Google Clarkston Athletic Boosters Club.
Okay.
Our webpage is on the school's, one of the drop-down menus or one of the sub-menus on the school's website. But the easiest way to get there is just Google Clarkston Athletic Boosters Club. And then we've also created a QR code, and hopefully that's something that you'll be able to share.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you scan the QR code, that'll take you directly to our website, and that's the fastest and easiest way to get there. That was one of the first things that we tried to do, was create that so that people could find us as quickly as possible.
Yeah, modernizing, I like it. Well, we really appreciate your time, you guys. What a great set of stories you guys have, and just kind of kudos to your family, but also to Clarkston athletics and academics. We're doing it all here. Well done. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
This podcast is brought to you by Independence Television, located inside Clarkston High School. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Independence Television, Independence Township, or Clarkston Community Schools.